Hey everyone, welcome back to Topher Drives, where today, thanks to Gene Buttman Ford in Ypsilanti, Michigan, we're driving a sleeper sedan. This is the 2017 Ford Fusion Sport, and this was the last midsize sedan, and in fact, the last car, that's not a Mustang, that Ford ever sold in the US. And this is the best one, the Sport. This has the same 2.7 liter EcoBoost twin turbo V6 as the Ford F-150 with the 2.7 liter twin turbo V6, which means this little sedan makes 325 horsepower and 380 pound-feet of torque. It's all-wheel drive, and it's got a 6-speed automatic transmission. Now, this is a proper sleeper, especially this one, finished in Burgundy Velvet, which just looks like a Grandpa Fusion, but keen-eyed viewers will have noticed the couple of differences that Ford sold you with this top trim sport model. We've got a different grille, a slightly different front bumper, we've got 19-inch wheels, we've got quad exhaust tips in the back, but honestly, I think this is just right for a sleeper. It's not over the top, there's just a couple little subtle things, and beyond what you can see, this has some more tricks up its sleeve. Obviously, we have the twin-turbo V6, that goes without saying, but we also have what Ford called back in the day continuously controlled damping. This was a pretty early use of adaptive dampers. They borrowed this from Lincoln, and basically what this system does is it can predict the road surface ahead and adjust the dampers to cope with it. Additionally, when you put this in sport mode, it stiffens them up and things, and this is seeming to be a bit more modern than I had realized. I saw this pop up on Gene Buttman Ford's website, and I said, I've got to go film that because this is just sort of on brand for the kind of thing that I like. And also, this was a brand new car when I was actually working at Gene Buttman Ford back about 10 years ago. I worked there in 2017, actually, when this car came out. And I remember watching these come off the truck and thinking how cool they were. One of my good friends, Patrick, that worked at the dealership, he had a blue one. I drove that one some. And I'm excited to be back in one today to show you all what it's like. We are starting at the warehouse area. We're going to drive this to downtown, see what this is like to daily drive, to commute. Obviously, we'll run it through the performance loop first and see what that's all about. But a car like this should be able to do it all. Similar to a hot hatch, it should be able to do your commute in comfort, but also when you push the S button, it should be able to put a smile on your face as well. So let's poke around this, let's talk a bit more about it, and then we'll jump out onto the road. Now, I want to talk about the Ford Fusion first. This car actually existed for about 15 years. I think it was like 05 to 2012 was the first gen, and then this one was 13 to 20. And it got a facelift in 2017 with the introduction of the sport model like this one. So, different headlights, taillights, things, some changes in the interior, which we'll show you in a bit. But what I love so much about cars in this segment is just how usable they are. I mean, look how massive this trunk is. You could fit like 6 of me in this. And I mean, this was just the size that cars were. And in fact, some companies still make cars like this. Toyota still makes the Camry, Honda still makes the Accord, Hyundai still makes the Sonata, Kia makes the K5, but Ford pulled out in 2020, Chevy pulled out, I think last year they killed the Malibu. So the Americans, they don't super enjoy making cars like this anymore. It would be cool to see one come back. We do have a spare wheel and tire under the trunk floor. Check that out. In a sports sedan, always good to see. You can see subtle sport badging on the back as well. I like that it kind of mirrors the Fusion badge, and I do really love those quad tips. Other than the quad tips, the back is the same. I mean, even this rear spoiler was shared with like titanium and platinum models, so it's just like the little valance on the bottom they changed. Otherwise, they didn't really do too much. Let's show you the back seat, give you a first look into this interior, which you guys know how I feel about window tint. This thing is super tinted out, so hard to see in, not too bad to see out. Where we see what I believe was the only interior color option for the Fusion Sport. This is called Earth Gray, and it's got some nice Alcantara in the middle, but it's weird to me that they didn't offer a black or like a saddle color or anything, because the titanium and the platinum cars and things, those had lots of other options, but the Sport, this was all you could pick. In the back, cabin seems pretty well insulated. At 5'11", sat behind my driving position. I've got plenty of room back here, and materials aren't too bad either. We've got this like faux carbon fiber trim, which we'll show you more of in the front. Fold down armrest, which has some sort of broken clip in it, so I hope that doesn't rattle for our drive. We've got some vents back here. That's nice to see. We've even got a little outlet. That's like a wall-style outlet. And then you've got like a traditional sort of car charger port, 2 seat back pockets. I've got good enough headroom, and, well, it does kind of bring back some memories sitting back here. My dad had a 2013 Fusion right when the second generation came out, and he drove that around for a few years before he got his Focus RS that he still has. So there's a bit of nostalgia attached to the second gen Fusion as well. So many of reasons to be excited to drive this car today. Let's jump under the hood and show you this 2.7 liter V6. Now, this wasn't only shared with the F-150, this was also in the Edge Sport. So there were a few cars, and Ford does this. You know, they make one engine and it ends up going in like 5 different vehicles. But I just love the idea that this engine that was designed for a pickup truck, something that weighs like twice as much as this, well, maybe not, like 2,000 pounds more, because this does weigh 4,000 pounds. It's actually quite heavy. I think it's the all-wheel drive system and things. But anyway, to reiterate, 325 horsepower, 380 pound-feet of torque. It's pretty attractive looking engine bay, engine cover, everything looks good. We've got a dipstick right up front, check that out. All the good stuff. Actually a pretty clean engine bay. This particular car has done 111,000 miles, which I know isn't crazy, but it's wild to think that this is almost 10 years old at this point. I mean, it's going to be 2026 in a few weeks, and this is a 2017. So it's done 111,000 miles. It seems a bit tired in some aspects. It's got a bit of a rotational noise, which you'll hear once we get out onto the road, but I'm hoping that the things that matter have held up on this car, and it's something that I like about driving cars that are kind of getting a little bit old. I like to see how they've held up, and we can start by observing this interior, which honestly, looking at this driver's seat, it looks pretty dang good. You can see there's a little bit of dye worn off, but it's not cracked, it's not ripped. The Alcantara seems like it's held up pretty well. The steering wheel leather looks nice. I mean, the door panels look good. There's a little crack in this piece of trim right there, so we'll keep that in mind, probably just from opening this door handle on a cold day or something. We've got aluminum pedals in this. Those were special for the Sport, the Fusion Sport. Oh, before I forget, I have to stick this plate on. Stand by. Why don't we fire this up with the door open so you guys can hear this V6. Now, this car doesn't sound super raunchy. That isn't really what this was about. Soft limiter there at 5,000 RPM. But it makes a good sound, and it doesn't just sound like an F-150. I think they did a pretty good job with the sound tuning. This one has an optional moonroof. I actually have the original window sticker to this car on my phone. We'll put this spec in the description for you guys, but the Fusion Sport started at only $33,000 back in 2017. This particular car as spec'd was 40 grand, so pretty loaded. We've got the moonroof, the Burgundy Velvet was an upcharge, navigation was an upcharge, heated seats and heated steering wheel, that was all an upcharge. This has got a 12-speaker Sony sound system, so we'll have to test that out. I've already got my phone paired and the song queued up, so we'll see how that does. The only bummer about this for the Sport model is you only have this little baby tack over on the left, and really, I mean, you can get rid of it, and it just becomes this very minuscule little thing next to the fuel gauge. But we've got screens for our intelligent all-wheel drive, distance to empty. You can see the rev counter there, temperature gauge, tire pressure, all that stuff. On the right side, you've got your entertainment, navigation, and a phone. I think we'll leave this on our entertainment there. But otherwise, I mean, it's a pretty simple interior. Everything makes sense. There's buttons, there's knobs. It's got a CD player. Vent placement seems to be pretty intelligent. We've got automatic headlights, 2 memory seat settings, paddle shifters, really nice leather-wrapped wheel, black headliner. It's just a nice car. Like this was what we had back in 2017, and we definitely took cars like this for granted. That is for sure. One thing I don't super like is how you put this into gear, and Ford is actually still using these today in cars like the Shelby GT500 and the Bronco Sport. Pretty much everything. You've got this dial shifter, but what's actually nice about this one is it doesn't just turn forever. It locks into park, it locks into drive. You can see into reverse here. We've got a reversing camera with leading lines. No 360 cam on this. And we can't complain because it's a 2017. All right, let's go drive this thing and see what it was like to be the cool dad in 2017. Would be using the front lot, but there's a UPS semi-mating ritual going on. I think one of them's broken down. That would explain the massive tow truck that's pulling in there. I hope that UPS driver starts having a better day. Anyway, first thing you notice with this, with this particular car is the rotational noise that you'll hear once we pull it onto the road. But apart from this particular car, all of the inputs are very smart. Throttle response is very good in normal mode. Even the steering, which is quite light, is all right. You know, for daily driving, this is kind of the feeling that I like to have for a car like this. Ride quality seems pretty good too, but it's hard to say what sort of maintenance this car has had, and it's 111,471 miles. I don't know if these are the original dampers or not. We can assume that they probably are. Traffic than we're used to today. It's okay, we're not going that way yet. Now, this car's got a Goodyear Assurance on it. Meant to show you that while we were on the outside. It's a 235/40 R19, and that was actually the tire that would have come on this back in 17. I don't know if it's a tire noise, if it's a wheel bearing noise or what, but it's impossible to not talk about it because you'll hear it here. So just know that this car is a pretty fresh trade-in. I don't know that it's been through service yet, so definitely something I'll be mentioning to them when I get back. Anyway, we're gonna get past the noise because let's take this around the performance loop. I'm gonna push the S button. Now that's gonna firm up our dampers. It's going to pipe in some V6 noises from the Sony speakers. It's going to give us control of these paddle shifters and, you know, just overall sharpen up throttle response, all of the stuff. It's interesting to me that this just kept the regular 6-speed automatic that pretty much every other Fusion had. I'm sure this one is reinforced to a level. What on earth is happening? I wonder if some of the highway is shut. This is quite peculiar today. I never see it like this. Well, aren't we in for a treat for some low-speed driving in the Fusion Sport? Brakes feel nice, pretty good bite from that pedal. Torque feels good in here as well, 380 pound-feet. I always love a car that has more torque than horsepower. Obviously, we can appreciate the high revving cars like a GT3 RS or an E92 M3, but sometimes low-down torquey cars are fun too. This only revs to 6,000 RPM, so it kind of needs that low-down torque. Put this back into drive in S mode. Today we are going to want to stay away from this area. All right, let's see what kickdown's like. Not bad. pretty quick reaction there from the 6-speed automatic, and this thing's pretty quick. I mean, I wasn't expecting a ton with it, you know, 325 horsepower, and it's a 4,000 pound thing. But it's punchy, it's torquey. It feels pretty light on its feet, honestly, for the numbers that I've read. It's funny, I was looking up to see what the curb weight of this was, and there's like all sorts of different numbers. You know, one outlet will say it's 3,600 pounds, one will say it's 3,800, one will say it's 4,000. And then I found a forum post of a guy that literally weighed his Fusion Sport, and it was like 4,080 pounds or something like that. So confirms our 2-ton weight on this thing. The idle of this 2.7, very smooth. Very quiet. Set me free. Staying in S mode. There's 60. A little bit of torque steer there at first. This has somewhat of like an intelligent all-wheel drive system, so it sends power to the back when it needs it. That initial punch there, it felt like all the power went to the front. Let's see how this gets off the line. Not bad. A little bit of a buzzkill from traction control there, but figured itself out very quickly. And this is allegedly good for 0 to 60 in about 5.5 seconds. And I believe him. It feels it for sure. Let's put these windows down. See if we can make some noise. I don't know that this makes a ton of sound from the outside, but we'll see. It doesn't really sound like a whole lot. Look at that sun coming out. It's 31 degrees out. There's snow everywhere. We've got the windows down. It's actually not blustery at all in this cabin at 55. Completely fine. Yeah, something must be wrong. This is not what should be happening right now. We've got a fellow hot Ford enthusiast. Hello, Fiesta ST. All right, we're gonna see if we can't skip all that. This car also had the optional suite of driver aids, which back in this day was two things. It was lane keep assist, which you may see lighting up green when I'm going straight, and cross traffic alert, and blind spot monitoring. Sorry, it's three things. I think a lot of this stuff's pretty intelligent. You know, heated seats there, all of your climate and stuff here, and then you've got this separate climate menu, which you do have to go into to get your heated steering wheel to turn on. I was searching around for that button for quite a while earlier. We'll leave that on and see how it does. There's our green light. It's always peculiar to me that Ford even killed this, because you see Fusions everywhere. I mean, we'll probably see 50 Fusions on today's video, so it's just, I don't know. I mean, they have numbers that I don't. We're gonna launch this again with traction off, because why not? Much better launch that time. Alrighty, well, let's, I don't know, should we start with a sound system test? What do you guys think? Maybe let's do that. Let's try out this 12-speaker Sony. see there, this Sony system has enough power to drown out whatever this hideous noise is in this car. And it's pretty dang good. I paired my phone as soon as I got in this when I picked this up earlier. And I was shocked at how good this sound system genuinely sounds. And it made me think, like, you don't really see Sony systems anymore in cars. Like, that's just not a thing anymore. Ford did this back in the 2010s, and that's it. You haven't really seen it since from anyone. My dad's Focus RS, I think, has a Sony system as well, which is decent. It's not as good as this. Definitely not as good as this. This has got nice crispy highs, good punches from the deck subs back there. Sound really good. Hard to complain. All right, well, anyway, let's talk about highway manners here in this Fusion. Let's turn our cruise control back on. Let's set that at 75 miles an hour. And this Fusion goes down the highway arrow straight. No vibrations, nothing weird. Cruise control and everything's easy to use. It's just buttons here on the left side of the steering wheel. Tracks arrow straight. Feels like it would go the indicated 160 miles an hour. Now I want to talk about these continuously controlled dampers because they feel quite nice here on the highway. I'm not getting any sort of weird rebound or weird floatiness. I mean, they seem pretty composed. In the sports section earlier, I know we didn't go around any hard corners or anything, but it feels like these dampers have either been replaced or they just hold up pretty well, because I've got no complaints. There are no weird noises from the suspension here. So, overall impressive to see, you know, an almost 10-year-old adaptive damper still feeling pretty fresh. Steering weight's up a little bit more at higher speeds. But I think what I'm liking the most about this car is that it fits the sleeper bill so well, because it's not crashy. It doesn't have an overly loud exhaust. It's not like a tin can in here. It still feels like a pretty well-built, somewhat, I don't want to say executive. It's not like a BMW or a Mercedes, but it does feel luxurious, but also very quick. I mean, this is Ford's version of the Businessman's Express, and I think they did a really good job with this back in 2017. As far as ergonomics in this car, I've got a soft, squishy center console here that's actually pretty big. Meant to show that in the walk around too. Driver's door panel has some good squish to it as well, and visibility out of this car is fantastic. Seating position is good. Got the seat in its lowest position, and I can see out of this very nice big windshield. Side mirrors are a little bit small, but out the back is completely fine. Seat comfort is great. I've got good lumbar adjust in this. It doesn't go up or down, but it does go in and out quite a bit. My goodness. They took the dampers from Lincoln and I think the lumbar in the seat. I remember that Lincoln Town car I drove last year had a pretty aggressive lumbar like this too. All right, let's get this Fusion Sport off the highway. We'll get it into town. We'll see what city manners are like. Let's go to the navigation screen, see what that looks like. This was optional, obviously. It was like an $800 option to get nav. Over some of these imperfections in the road, the car seems to soak up the bumps pretty well. The only bit of intrusion you get, as you can hear there, is from these tires. I mean, it's not the most low profile in the world. I think, what was it, a 40 section sidewall, but there's really no way around that. If you want to have cool 19-inch wheels, I mean, you're going to have to expect some road intrusion. As you can see in front of us, a Ford Fusion and a Ford Fusion. They are absolutely everywhere. I know in other states, maybe not so much, but in Michigan, it's like every other car you see is a Fusion. A little bit of a creak from the driver's seat there you can hear. Otherwise, though, this interior seems to hold up super well. Got physical buttons here to control my temperature. Turn that down a bit. It is getting quite toasty. I think I'll turn my heated steering wheel off, too. Quick access button to that in the top when you actually have it activated. Is there really not another button for the heated steering wheel? guess there's not. We do have a dimmer for the gauge cluster over here and a physical button for our fog lights. That's nice to see. But they were kind of on their way to simplifying things. I mean, this whole center console area is pretty streamlined, but you've got good places to put things in this car. 2 cup holders, little spot for coins or whatever. This is a grippy surface up here. I've got my phone in there. It hasn't moved at all. Ford made cars for so long, and then they just stopped in 2020. They said, yep, this is it. It's the last one. But there are other markets that still get the Fusion. I think China gets a Fusion. Because even the sister car to this, the Mondeo, that died in Europe too. It's not only the US that lost the cars. Nice sounding Audi S5. Really smooth gear changes from the 6-speed automatic when driving casually, and even earlier when we were pushing this a little bit and using the paddles. No weird misshifts or anything. A little bit of a screech from the front wheels. Oh my goodness. The road is deteriorating quite a bit out here. As bad as that sounded, it didn't really feel like much. All right, guys, well, let's go ahead and develop some final thoughts here on this Ford Fusion Sport. Now, usually when I think about these cars, I get sad because they have this special piece of nostalgia for me, but I think also this car would have evolved into something quite competitive in the market. I mean, they were on the right track with this car, giving it like 100 more horsepower, giving it the adaptive dampers, keeping it low-key, giving it a good sound system. I mean, this is a really nice package, and for only $33,000 starting back in the day, this was quite the bargain, in my opinion. I don't know what that is adjusted in 2025 dollars, but I bet it's around 40 grand or something, which in today's market would be pretty fair. But anyway, from what I've experienced today, it seems like Ford got this pretty right. This wasn't the first Fusion Sport. They did do a first-gen car as well, the first-gen facelift that had a naturally aspirated V6, so they had some time to practice, but it just feels like a very well-thought-out car. I mean, it doesn't just feel like they removed the 4-cylinder and like shoehorned a truck engine in this. Like, it really feels like some proper development went into this car. And I like that. You know, Gene Buttman Ford is selling this one for like 13 grand. So, you know, you can find these cars for well under $20,000. And in my mind, you know, it's really not all that old. Like, this is not...
Please select an event from Welcome. Please proceed into the lot.
This is not an ancient car. I mean, things still feel relatively modern in here. See those automatic headlights coming on, dimming our screens. And kind of to like bounce off of what we said earlier, it does feel still relatively modern in here. I know this is only 9 years old, but a lot can change in almost a decade. And if this one didn't have that hideous rotational noise, I mean, I would say that this does still feel like a new car in every other aspect. It's a bit of a shame that this one has that little bit of an Achilles heel, but someday we'll drive another one, we'll evaluate it again, but I figured while we had the chance, we ought to go drive one of these and see what it's like. Cool old Cadillac there. But that'll just about wrap it up here for this sleeper sedan that I don't think a lot of people realize even exists. I mean, Ford only made this for 3 years, 2017 to 2019. When Ford killed this car in 2020, it went out with only a few trims. I think it might have only been 2 trims. It might have been like SE and titanium, maybe an SEL in there or something, but the Sport only lived for 3 years and it was much too short. So start a petition for Ford to bring this car back, make some more sedans. We miss them. We miss Ford's sedans. We miss the hatchbacks. We miss all of that cool stuff. And I don't know, maybe someday we'll see it come back, but as of right now, we'll have to make do with SUVs, trucks, and Mustangs. So that's going to do it for this second-gen Ford Fusion Sport. I hope you guys all enjoyed. If I left anything out, please let me know. Obviously, I've only been driving this car for like an hour, so I don't know it as well as a press car that I would give you a proper full review on. But just figured we'd go out, see what this thing is like. And that's it, just a casual video. So let's get this parked up. We'll show you what it looks like one last time on the outside, and that'll be it. And of course, the roof is closed. That's all right. We will just have to cope and park in 2 spots for a second. And we'll pull the ND filter off so you can actually see the outside of the car. Into park, put our electronic parking brake on, turn this off, comfort access, nice. Alrighty guys, well that's going to do it. Again, like I said, if I left anything out, please let me know. I missed the Fusion. Alright, we'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.